Botulism is mainly food poisoning where there are very light symptoms of gastroenteritis. Mainly it is because it is affecting on our neurological system. It is mainly poisoning from the absorption of specific toxins from the alimentary canal. That is botulism. Mainly it doesn't grow in body. It is present usually in soil, but it enters into our body because of food contamination, of course. So it is mainly a neurotoxin, as I said. So it is entering in the intestinal tract of animals and enters food as spores, especially fruits, vegetables, and there are 8 distinct strains of them. That is from type A to G, and let us know about this each type. So this Clostridium botulinum have been identified in these types, and food contamination by mainly type A and B appear to be putrefied due to the action of proteolytic enzymes. But food contaminations with type E toxin may look and taste normal. So we can't understand whether the toxin is present or not, because as they're looking and tasting normal, if for example if they change in color in food or like that, we can guess it that some toxin is there, so we'll not eat it. Otherwise any taste change like bitter, of course many of them think like toxins are bitter taste, so then we can understand. But these are tasteless and normal, so these are most dangerous. We can't even understand whether the toxin is present or not. And the toxin is destroyed by heat, so we need to heat it at least so for the 30 minutes, or 100 degrees for 10 minutes is enough. So the action is mainly selectively being confined to the cholinergic fibers of autonomic nervous system, which affects the peripheral cholinergic nerve endings, mainly the peripheral nerve endings, and including the neuromuscular junction, between the synapse between the neuronal and the muscular, neuromuscular junction, and postganglionic parasympathetic nerve endings, and also peripheral ganglia, without affecting the central nervous system. So it doesn't affect the central nervous system, mainly in the peripheral nervous system, because it is affecting on the nerves on the peripheral system. So botulism is an intoxication, not an infection. So that you need to remember, it is toxication but not an infection. And it is causative organism is of course botulinum. It multiplies in the food, especially in sausage, and especially the main important is in tinned meats, fishes, fruits before it is consumed, and produces a powerful exotoxins. These are also exotoxins under suitable anaerobic conditions. So the dose for an adult is only 0.01. This may cause the toxicity or even less. So we should be very careful. Only this much toxicity, only this much mg is only causing the toxicity. And the toxin paralyzes the nerve endings by blocking the nerve impulses at the myoneuronal junctions, that is between the muscles and the neurons. So it blocks the action of acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the one which is released from the postsynaptic neuron to the muscle or maybe another neuron at the junction at the synaptic cleft. So if this acetylcholine is stopped, there is no impulse travel. So hence it may lead to paralysis or blockage of that specific pathway. So this action is selectively being confined to the cholinergic fibers of mainly autonomic nervous system. So only to the cholinergic fibers, and that too in the autonomic nervous system. So the signs and symptoms are: the incubation period lies for 12 to 36 hours but may be prolonged to 72 hours. To symptoms are mainly due to the action of toxin on central nervous system. So the initial gastrointestinal symptoms would be nausea, because it is a toxin, of course, causing some kind of nausea, vomiting, abdominal distension, pain. Later symptoms are like dry sore throat, difficulty with visual accommodation. Visual accommodation takes place because our pupil dilate in this case and we can't able to accommodate, and dysphonia, diplopia, ptosis, dysarthria, blurring of vision, muscle weakness, descending bilaterally symmetrical motor paralysis initiated by the abduction, that is 6 cranial nerve, and oculomotor third nerve palsy, dysphagia, constipation, respiratory. So you can see there are many causes. So it is very dangerous botulinum. And also urinary retention. The patient is conscious until that, but which is preceded by the coma or delirium. Of course, if coma is a very dangerous condition, of course the patient is alive but still is in somewhat unconscious like situation. So temperature is usually subnormal, and death may occur due to respiratory or cardiac failure, of course the major cause of that, and within 24 hours from the onset of symptoms, but may be delayed for a week too. So in those who survive, complete recovery of the ocular movements may not take place. By luck or chance, someone may survive. Of course many of them die, because you can see the mortality is from 25% to 100%. Of course if it is of less toxicity, then of course they can get out from this, or if they are exposed to more toxicity, of course it will cause mostly mortality. Of by chance if they get recovered, then they can't recover the ocular movement, so it persists even if they survive. And ocular movements may not take place for up to 6 to 8 months, so that you need to remember. And the botulism has to be differentiated from encephalitis, multiple sclerosis, because these are also related to nervous disorders, so we need to differentiate them. Guillain-Barré syndrome, diphtheria, tetanus, so don't confuse them with this. And also poisoning from carbon monoxide, organophosphates, and elapid snake bite, because they also show same kind of symptoms, so we need to differentiate them. At autopsy, the kidneys, liver, meninges are congested, so this is a main key point. You can find out that kidneys, liver, meninges are congested. And histological examination of organs may show thrombosis. Thrombosis is like a clot or agglutination which is blocking the vessels, so that you can find in this. And the botulism toxin is used for the treatment of mainly blepharospasm, rhesus sardonicus, and strabismus. So this is you need to remember. So the botulism toxin is used for the treatment of this time. So this toxin is always not toxin, it is also used in treatment of some cases like blepharospasm, rhesus sardonicus, and strabismus. These are important, you need to remember. And the diagnosis, again same, we need to know the history, clinical features, demonstration of toxin in suspected food, and isolation of bacillus from the food, isolation of the toxins in the blood and tissues, and isolation of bacillus from the patient's fecus or vomiting, and intestinal contents and viscera. So treatment can be by gastric lavage or emesis, and activated charcoal, purgative sorbitol, and whole bowel irrigation. And also botulism antitoxins may be of types A, B, and D. So one is VL up to, you can see, 5 lakhs to up to 10 lakh units by slow in normal saline, and 1 VL IM, and repeated to 2 to 4 hours intervals. That is botulinum immunoglobulin BIG is a pentavalent type. It is also having A, B, C, D, and E types. So pentavalent, so 5 types, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 50 ml is given IV daily till the patient recovers. So guanidine 15 to 40 mg orally. It reverses the neuromuscular block of botulism. That is the main cause. So guanidine can be given, and adequate respiration should be given, if of course, because it is also causing respiratory illness. And alcohol precipitates the toxins. So frequent small doses of brandy are beneficial. So of course alcohol is dangerous, but in this situation we can suggest a brandy for frequent small doses. And viruses, the viral infections usually have 1 to 3 incubation period, and a self-limited and similar to the bacterial type. There are especially norovirus and rotavirus commonly causing the food poisoning. So remember, if they ask what are the 2 viruses causing food poisoning, they are norovirus, rotavirus, rota. And food allergy is actually not food poisoning, because it is main problem in the person itself. Some persons are allergic to some kind of food, so that is a problem in the person, especially they are hypersensitive to certain types of, it's an abnormality of a person. They are hypersensitive to meat, fish, eggs, milk, and also odd, which are quite harmless for some. Mostly they are quite harmless, but some patients have this kind, and suffer from gastroenteritis, local urtical rashes, and also asthmatic attack. So what are tomains? So what are tomains? Tomains are the alkaloidal bodies which are formed as a result of bacterial decomposition of protein. So these are formed mainly in the dead tissues, because in the cadaveric, they are also known as cadaveric alkaloids, because they are bacterial decompositions. Bacterial, if we left something, especially in dead, there they are formed, and these alkaloids are secreted by the living cells during metabolism are called leucomains. If they are in the living cells, then they are known as leucomains. If they are in dead cells, they are known as cadaveric alkaloids. So these are slightly toxic when injected into animal, but have no action when ingested. So if when injected they are toxin, but ingested, taken by mouth, then they are not toxic. They are not bacterial poisons and are not derived from bacteria. So this is clear, they are not bacterial origin, and are found only when the food becomes too disagreeable to be eaten. When we leave it for long time, then this may form. So most of the tomains are non-poisonous except neurine and maldane. You need to remember neurine and maldane are the poisonous forms, others are non poisonous, which are produced in traces 5 to 7 days after the death. So the symptoms resembles that of atropine. So these domains are not causative agents of food poisoning. So this is not a part of food poisoning, but they may also cause food poisoning, especially you need to remember neurine and maldane. And next, mycotoxicosis. This is the spores of the molds growing on food of man or animals and release highly toxic mycotoxins. So they remain in meats and passed into milks or eggs. So mycotoxins are heat stable and survive cooking. Of course, these are spores, so they are resistant. And the consumption of contaminated this food causes poisoning in man. Like you can take Aspergillus flavus, grow on any kind of food, and they produce the alpha toxins. So they produce carcinoma liver, acute encephalitis, and the fungus Penicillium islandicum is growing on the yellow rice produce islandotoxin, which is a potent hepatotoxin. So islandotoxin is a hepatotoxin which is from the fungus Penicillium islandicum. So this you need to remember. And next part we'll see the poisonous foods.